For years, I've been telling you guys never to take no for an answer, right? You know, to keep pushing, to never hang up the phone until you get what you want. Because you all deserve it. You know this fucking deal that I'm about to sign, borrowing me from the securities industry, borrowing me from Stratton, my home. The fuck is that, you know? I'll tell you what it is. It's me taking no for an answer, you know? It's them selling me, not the other way around. It's me being a hypocrite is what it is. So, you know what? I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving!
All right, guys, Charlie Barley back with a great video for you. Listen, if you play Baccarat, you and a team or two people can do this and you guys will make a lot of money. Right now, I have a current team of users who are doing this every day. And right now, we're averaging anywhere between 4 and 8 units of winning every day. And we're averaging also about 30–40% growth every 3 or 4 days. And this is something not only can I validate with my current group of users, but something that you could also try. But what I'm going to do is show you guys and demonstrate this. I'm going to use RNG to demonstrate it just to save us some time, because I could do it live, but in doing it live, it actually takes a lot longer. And I want you guys to see as much as I can show you within the next few minutes. Hopefully I'm not too long, but I really want to convey this out. Again, you can do this with a team or you can do it by yourself. The reason I recommend a team is because as you guys are making money, even my group, as we're continuing to make money, we don't want to become a target by the casino, because right now, as you guys are probably noticing, everything around us is collapsing, right? And what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to be driven to the casino market. People are going to be coming to the casino. Right now, I even think sports betting actually turns in more money than S&P 500. So people are slowly waking up to the idea of gambling being a literal way of life. But they don't understand the nuances of limited variables as it relates to Baccarat and games like that in a way that I do. And what I'm going to do is show you, first of all, I'm going to demonstrate this, or at least give you a brief overview of what you're seeing here in terms of this algorithmic software that I created. And what this thing does is what I call a volatility breaker. Okay, so in the game of Baccarat, you have what is called random outcomes, okay? And these random outcomes produce patterns. And if you have a way to decipher the patterns, what you can do is find the pattern that is experiencing the least amount of volatility. So what you're seeing on the screen, right here on the screen in the software, you can see right here where it says game 1, game 2, 3, all the way through 20, right? And then you can see where it says algo 1, algo 2, algo 3, and algo 4. As I put in the outcomes and as we wager, every game that we play or we wager against, each of these algorithms have an actual pattern. Okay, so algorithm 1, this positive, and I'll explain what that means in a second. Algorithm 2 is negative. Algorithm 3 is negative, positive. And then algorithm 4 is positive, negative. Again, I'm going to explain what that is in just a second. But as I play the game, these algorithms are going to experience some losses. What's amazing about this is that in every game that we play, only one of these algorithms can lose, which means the other 4 are winning. So when you think about volatility, right? Volatility has to either occur in one algorithm or it has to be spread out amongst them all. But what can't happen is volatility happening in the least volatile algorithm. Why? Because only one of these algorithms will lose in a game, whereas 3 will win. So we have a huge advantage the way this is broken down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually go through the process of playing this, and I'm going to show you how it works, because what happens is each algorithm has a percentage of winning, meaning as I begin to input the outcomes of each of these algorithms, there's going to be a winning percentage that's going to appear. And that's going to let us know what's the highest performing algorithm in the game. And again, all 4 algorithms are going to be at play, but only one will lose. And when we identify the algorithm that has the least volatility, we're going to win. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the process of playing the game, and then I'm going to show you as I go along with playing how this works. And again, you can play this with a team or you can do it as an individual. Now, the first thing I have to do to even get this thing going, I've got to put in outcomes, which is what you see here, these outcomes. And what these outcomes are going to do is going to give me the data. All right, right up here it says hand number 1, hand number 2. That represents player 1, player 2. So when it's actually time for us to play, where it says hand 1, right here, if we were playing algo 1, player 1 in game 1, it says to play positive. All right, and in a moment you're going to see what that means. And then sometimes it may say play negative. Hand 2 is going to be player 2. Or if you're doing this as an individual, which currently my group is doing it as individuals, you would be playing positive. All right, and I'm going to explain what that means in a second. But the first thing I need to do is get some outcomes. So the first thing before we get outcomes, this is a new board. So what I'm going to do is deal out the first 6 outcomes, right? Actually, the first 8. Because in order for us to track a trending algorithm that has the least amount of volatility, I've got to get data first. So the first thing we're going to do is input the data. And then as I input the data, I'm going to explain to you how this algorithm works. And again, all of my users are winning every day, between 4 and 8 units every day. And that's what's going to completely make them all the money that they need. And right now we're averaging about 40% growth every 3 to 4 days. No joke. And you're going to see why that is the moment I begin to play this. All right. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So what I'm going to do is put in the last outcomes into the software. So that was banker, player, banker, player, player, banker, player. All right. So I'm going to put that into the software just to get game 1's outcomes. So we're going to start here at 6. Player. All right. So what I've done here, I've put in the last grouping of the last 6. So technically, when we get to this point, when it's actually time to play, this 1 is representative of hand 1, and this 2 is representative of hand 2. All right, now we're going to decide which algorithm we're going to play after we've gotten 3 games of data first, because that's how we're going to be able to determine which algorithm has the highest performance. Okay, because again, the volatility is either going to happen in one algorithm or it's going to be spread amongst all 4. But every game that we play, only one algorithm will lose, whereas the other 3 will be winning. And that's where we have a huge advantage. You're going to see what I mean. All right, so let's go ahead and put the next 2 outcomes in. All right, so for hand 1 now, we're not actually going to be playing the first game. We're going to be actually getting the data. So when I put this in here, before I did that, let me just take that out. You see, actually, let me take this out as well. All right, where you see where it says your play, you see there's nothing here right now, right? All right, so when I put that there, so this is going to tell us what we're going to have to play. Player 1, under your play will be playing player. But as you can see down here, it says positive. What positive means whatever this says. If this says negative, this literally means the opposite of whatever this is. All right, so if this is positive, you're going to be here. But if this is negative, you're going to play whatever the opposite is. So the same thing on 2. If it's negative or positive, you're going to, if it's positive, obviously, whatever this says, that's what you'll play. But if it's negative, it's going to be the opposite. All right, so let's go ahead and put the outcome here. All right, so when I put the actual outcome of the game here under 1, hand 1, you could see that we're right here where it says trend outcome. So it says negative, and the reason why it says negative is because it is the opposite of whatever this play call. So then, if for player 1, if he should have played positive, you could see that the trend outcome was negative, and clearly that was a loss. All right. So in hand 2, let's get hand 2's outcome. All right, so when we get hand 2 outcome, we're going to put that in there. And you could see hand 2 was a positive trend outcome. The reason is because they're both matching. They're the exact same thing, because this is automatically going to be positive. So if the outcome matches, it's going to be positive. All right. So right here, we have a trend outcome for hand 1, hand 2. It says negative and positive. So when we go into all 4 of the algorithms and we want to see which of the algorithms would have won in game 1, what we're simply looking for is the one that is opposite of whatever this is, because all the other ones are going to be automatic winners. So in this case, algorithm 1 would be a winner. Algorithm 2 would be a winner. And then algorithm 3 will also be a winner. It literally matched. But algorithm 4, hopefully you guys can see this, algorithm 4 is literally the opposite. Player 1 was positive, player 2 was negative. And you can see, as you can see here, the trend outcome was literally reversed. So we're going to put a -3 here. Now, the reason why we're putting that -3 there is because if we should actually play, we're going to play on hand 1 unit. If we should lose hand 1, we're going to do a double bet on hand 2. And if we lose them both, that's equivalent to losing a -3 units. All right, but for now, what we're doing is just putting the data outcome into the fields so that we can get a percentage. So you can see here, Algo 4 has a 0% winning because literally it just lost. Algos 3, 2, and 1 are all at 100%. And the reason is because we're literally at the start of a session. So that's the reason why we've got to give it 3 games. All right. So that we can get some type of trending pattern so that we know which one is going to be the highest performing algorithm for us to jump on. All right. So let's go ahead and get to game 2. And the way for us to do that, we're going to hit copy, paste, clear. And then we wait for the dealer to deal out another outcome. All right, and let's go ahead and get 2 more outcomes. That was a tie, and we always omit ties. So whenever there's a tie, we're always going to omit it. So this was a banker, and then the next outcome is player. So let's plug this into hand 1, or banker player. All right, so game number 2, and a game is always going to be one, whether you win hand 1 or 2, that's considered a game. Okay, so now we're on game 2. All right, so in game 2, the outcomes were this. All right, so when we saw that, we can look up here at the trend outcome, and at that point, we can determine which algorithm won. So the easy way to do that is just to find the algorithm that lost, because all the other ones are going to be automatic winners. The one that lost was Algo 3. So we're going to put a -3 there, and all the other ones are automatic winners. All right. So all the other ones are automatic winners. So now if you look at the landscape, you could see here that algorithm 3 is producing just a 50% winning ratio. Algorithms 4 is only at 50%, whereas algorithm 1 and 2 are both at 100%. All right, so we need one more game to see where the volatility is happening. Copy, paste, clear, and then we wait for the next outcome. That way it's a continuum. We can continue to play. All right, so we get this outcome. Now we're ready to actually go on to hand 3, but we're not actually playing at this point. We're just getting the data. All right, so let's go ahead and get some outcomes. That was a tie. We're going to always omit the tie. A player and player. All right, so let's go ahead and put that in here. All right, let's look at the trend outcome. It was negative, positive. So let's find the one that is opposite of that, which is going to be algorithm 4, which is a positive, negative, and that's going to be a -3. All right, so right now we automatically know that we're not going to be playing on algorithm 4. Why? Because it's only at 33%. All the other ones are automatic winners. All right, so now it's going to be time for us to play. And we're going to actually jump on. Now, you have 2 that are at 100%. You have algorithms 1 at 100%. You have algorithm 2 that's at 100%. All right, so we're going to play only on the highest performing. So just you can do a coin toss. It really wouldn't matter. I'm just going to pick algorithm 1. I don't know, because it's the closest to the left for me. Pick your choice. It doesn't really matter as long as you're on the highest performing one. All right, so I'm going to clear, and then we're going to deal the next outcome. All right, we're going to put player here now. So now we're going to be actually playing here. We're going to play algorithm 1. So player 1 is going to put his chip on positive, which hand 1, player 1, positive is going to be the exact same thing this says. So we'll do a bet on player, and banker comes out. So player 1 lost. All right, so then we're going to do a double bet. Player 2, which will be your teammate, he's going to do a 2-unit bet on hand 2, which is player. So he's going to do a 2-unit bet. And what do you know? Now, mind you, by the way, guys, this is also RNG. So this is pre-programmed, okay? So just know that. So when you use RNG, it's always going to be a pre-program. So you're going to see some crazy stuff. But one of the things I like about using this to practice is because if you can dominate this, you can easily dominate a live game. All of my users are playing live, by the way. All right, so in this case, this would have been a loss. All right, good. And we're going to populate all the other ones. And by the way, this happens. Like, you don't win them all, by the way. All right, so in this case, we're going to come over here on the spreadsheet. So player 1 lost -1. Player 2 is at -2 for a total of -3 units. All right, so if we look over now and see which one has the highest performing algorithm. So at this point, algorithm 2 will be the algorithm that's still at 100%. So we're going to jump right here on algo 2 in the very next game. Copy, paste, clear, deal, banker. Now, here's going to be the secret sauce. Instead of actually playing the next game, we're going to virtually watch the next 2 games, because what we want to do is to get even a better accurate description on the highest performing algorithm. So what I'm going to do for the next 2 games, we're just going to virtually watch them by putting in the data of the outcomes just to see which algorithm is the highest performing. All right, so let's just go ahead and get data for the next 2 games. So that's player, and then that's banker. So let's go ahead and input that. All right, so let's go ahead and update the sheet of the algorithms that lost and the ones that won. Now, had we played that, you could see here that we would have won. All right, but what we're doing now is going to give it 2 games just to get an even more accurate description on the highest performing algorithm. Banker, player, banker. All right, I'm going to put this in here. Banker, player, banker. Now, again, I'm going kind of fast just because this is a video, and if I were doing this live, it would take a long time. And then plus, when you're trying to teach stuff like this live, you can make mistakes. All right, so now that we have the data, now look over the landscape, right? You see where the volatility is happening in algorithm 4. Algorithm 4 is at 33%, algorithm 3 is at 83%, and so is algorithm 1. So clearly we're going to be playing in algorithm 2, all right, in the very next game. All right, let's put that there. All right, so what I'm going to do now in this game, because we're playing with 2 players, we're going to increase the bet. Now, if you're playing with 1 player, I wouldn't recommend you having to really increase the bet at all. You can if you have the bankroll, but when you got 2 people, you could be a lot more creative. So we're going to actually go up on this one. So we're going to play for player 1. It's going to be a negative, and a negative on hand 1, player 1, is going to be the opposite of whatever this is, because this is always going to be a positive. All right, so whatever this says is always positive. So if this says negative, we're just simply going to play the opposite. So let's do a bigger bet on the opposite, which will be player. And as you can see, player 1, right? All right, so we won that one. Now, after we've won that first hand, all right, we're going to wait for the next outcome so that we can populate all 4. So we need the next outcome. All right, banker. All right, so let's go ahead and populate the algorithm that's had success. And algorithm 1 was the loser, and everything else were clearly the winner. All right. Now let's go over here, and then I'm gonna put 5 right here. All right, so now we're literally a +2 units at this point. And I'm gonna go back down, and we're gonna get 2 more games of data. All right, 1, 2, player, banker. All right. And again, guys, we're literally winning 4 to 8 units every day. Like every day we're doing this. We're making this kind. But I'm showing you guys how to do this as a team, and you could also do it as an individual. And this just is a way where you can do it via continuity, just playing it consistently all the way through and through without having to reset. Currently, what we're doing, once we make 1 unit in a session, we will restart the session and start over again. But instead of restarting the session, one of the things you can do is, again, is just after every game you play, you virtually watch for 2 games just to get a more accurate description on which algorithm is the highest performing, and then you simply jump on it. All right, so now that we have these outcomes, let's go ahead and populate the spreadsheet and see which one of those algorithms lost. I can tell you now it's going to be algorithm 3, which means all the other ones won. All right. So you see that now, right, guys? So look at this. So you see the volatility is happening mostly in algo 4 and none in algo 2. Why is that? Because of the randomness of the game. Secondly, it's because all 4 algorithms cannot experience this at the same time. It's impossible. Only one will be an outlier like this, unless there's volatility happening amongst all 4. And even with that, even with that being the case, by waiting for 2 games, we still get a very much accurate description on the highest performing one. All right, and we're always generally right, at least to the point where we can make 4 to 8 units every day, and that's enough to set you completely financially free. All right, so now that we've done that, we've gotten that game. We're going to get 1 more game's data, And I could tell y'all, even if this algorithm 2 loses, we're going to be playing on algo 2 because it still will be the highest performing algorithm, even if it should lose virtually in this next game. So the outcome was player, player, player. So let's plug that in here. And literally, I called it. It lost. But we're still going to play on algo 2. And the reason is because algo 2 is at 89% right now. Everything else is less than 89%. So the very next game, we're going to be playing on algo 2. All right, so in order to go to the next game, copy, paste, clear. Wait for the dealer to deal the next outcome. And he deals player. All right, so for player 1, if you're playing with a team, and remember, if you're playing with a team, it's always a good thing to play with a team. Because as you grow your money, you're not going to be a target. One player might be appearing to be losing, whereas the second player will have all the money and you guys will split. And then maybe next week, one player may have won all the money, whereas the other player seemingly has lost. That way, no one is a target. That's the reason why team play is going to be really, really big, particularly in the upcoming future. So in this case, we're going to be playing negative. So this says player, so we're going to put our chips on opposite of player. So we're going to go back down to our base unit at not 500. We're going to go back down to 100. And it wins hand 1. All right. So we got to get the next outcome for the next game so that we could populate the algorithm. All right. So we won that one. All right, so let's go ahead and populate the one that won. Let's put a 1 there. And go ahead and identify the one that lost, which was this one. And all the other ones are going to be winners. All right. And let's go ahead and populate our winning. All right, so as a team or as an individual, right now you're up +3 units. Let's do one more, and then I think you guys get the gist of it. I could do this right now, my team. We're doing this every day, and you can do this every day as well. All right, banker, player, player. All right, so you could see here was a negative, and this one was the loser, which was algo 1. Algo 1 is now at 64%. This is the reason why we are waiting 2 games so that we can get an accurate description on the volatility. It's like waiting for the best setup in stock trading, except in this market, it's a sterile market. It's, as you can see here, by us breaking it out like this, we're trapping the volatility and identifying the algorithm that's least volatile. And as a result, we're able to win. All right. So that's game 1. We're going to do one more game where we virtually watch, and we're going to look for, and I could tell you even now, it still would be algorithm 2 because algorithm 2 is just really, really far ahead. So that was a player, banker, player. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and populate the algos that won and the algos that lost. All right, so you see how the volatility is happening in algo 1 and mostly algo 1s and 4, but we can clearly identify the algorithm that has the least volatility. Why is that possible? It's because only one of the algorithms can lose, and whereas 3 of them will win every game. So we're going to stick right here on algo 2 in this game. Copy, paste, clear. We deal. We put the outcome here, and it says for player 1 or hand 1, we're going to go negative, which hand 1 says pot player, so negative will be banker. And banker wins. All right. And then, of course, we get the next outcome and we populate the sheet. All right. So you can see clearly, guys, what I mean. This is something that we recently just came up to. And also, I had a gentleman who was a part of the team. And when he joined, it was right in the middle of me upgrading this, and I think he was a little impatient and he wanted it to move really, really quickly. But what happens when you're patient, especially when you're developing something, imagine being the first guy to develop a car and you've never seen a car being developed before. You've constantly got to improve it because you don't know where the limitations are. So that's kind of what's happened here, is that there's no limit because we don't know where the limits are. It's all being done for the first time. But this process has allowed us to just completely smoke out the game. And I can go through tons of data, guys. Like, we have tons of data where we've done this live. And we can go, we have so many users, I'm gonna say so many users, but we've got so much data that allows us to really just trap the volatility. And we're only playing in the algorithm that's least volatile. And it's impossible for all algorithms to experience volatility. It's impossible. Impossible. So that's the reason why we're having success. You can do this as a team, guys, or you can do it as an individual. Just let me know if you'd like to do this, either as a team or individual. Send me an email, permutationspro@gmail.com. And if you need more training, I'll give you free training. And if you want to test it out for free, by all means, I'll give you a few hours to do that. The last thing I'll show you is the kind of money that you could actually make doing it. All right, so what I'm going to do right here, this is a spreadsheet that we created that helps kind of guide us into, how to manage our money, right? Because money management is a really big deal, especially if you're not used to managing money. It's a really big deal, and you've got to take it serious. But this process that we're taking, like I said, we're averaging like 40% growth because you can do multiple sessions in a day. That's one thing about it. You can do multiple sessions. I recommend you not using RNG because RNG is nothing but a computerized code. And I don't trust anything that I can't see. So in that case, I say don't do it. But as you can see here, if you and your team had a bankroll of 3,000 in 28 sessions, this says 4 weeks, but it's not really 4 weeks. It's really 28 sessions. 28 sessions can be done in maybe 2 weeks. And that's only averaging like an hour, 2 hours a day, sort of a thing. But as you can see, every session is going to increase your minimum bet by $8. This is based on a $3,000 bankroll. But if you had less than that, let's say you have 1,000, you could see here it's going to reduce that down to maybe 3 units. But right here where it says session loss, we have what we call a -15 stop loss. So if in a session you should lose a -15, you can input this into your sheet. All right. And I'm just going to randomly put some losses in here. And we rarely lose, but I'm just going to show you even with losses. Even with losses in 28 sessions, with these randomized losses like this, we still end up at 146% growth rate. If you actually did more than, let's say you did 8 units, which if you take this serious and you do it daily, and you do about 8 units, you do 1 session in the morning, maybe 1 session in the evening, you're looking at about an hour. When I say session, meaning to get 4 units, you're looking anywhere between an hour, hour and a half. All right. So if you do that twice a day, you can pretty much make about 8 units in a day. And as you can see here, in 8 units in a day, 28 sessions, it's going to put you at about $5,000. Let me throw in a couple more losses, just to suggest that we're losing even more, right? That will still double your money in 28 sessions. So that's the reason why I'm saying we're doing about 30-40% growth like 3 days, because some of the players are playing more than one session a day. Some of us are playing RNG, and if you're going to play RNG, limit yourself to just one session, only 4 units, and that's it, because RNG is a program. But if you have the abilities to play it live or play it live, then this is kind of what you're looking at every 28 sessions. All right, and we're doing literally these numbers right now. But if you have a team, let's say you and a partner of yours, if you guys split this, say 5,000, 2,500 each, 28 sessions could yield you about 11,000, and this is inclusive of these losses. Me adding in losing like this, that's inclusive. But you could also see here that it's going to compound your unit size increase every session by 13 units if you're coming in with $5,000. All right, so you're going to be splitting that, but you're going to be compounding it as such. And as you compound, that's how that 5,000 goes to 11,000, 223% growth rate in about 28 sessions. 28 sessions, if you have the time, it can be done in a week or less. It just depends on how much time you have. But we're not in this to just spend all of our time playing. That's the reason why you can do this very, very part-time. You could do it with an individual, or you can do it with a team. I recommend doing it with a team, because as this is growing, you do not want to be a target. Consistent winning makes you a target, and spreading the winning and the losing with a partner definitely makes you not a target. And that way we can literally get away with making a boatload of money in a record amount of time. All right, guys, listen, that's pretty much it, and that's all I'm actually going to show you for now. Hopefully that makes sense. If you'd like to see more, I'll be doing more content. And of course, I've had a few people has been asking me about putting more content out here. I do want to do some more content talking about today's economy and why this market is going to be a lifesaver for many. If you guys are not paying attention, artificial intelligence is taking away your jobs. Okay, the rising price of inflation is taking away your abilities to survive. Now that there is all these proxy wars and the looming Third World War is coming, guys. What's going to happen is it's going to crash markets. The only market that's going to survive it is the casino market. It's the only reason why in America, Las Vegas is the fastest growing city across the board. There's billions and billions and billions of projects going into that city, because this is the place where people are going to run. But we can make a ton of money while people are running here and losing their money gambling. All right, guys. Well, listen, enough of that. I got more content that I'm going to be bringing your way. Thanks so much for listening. Stay tuned for more. Permutationspro@gmail.com if you like to learn this, if you'd like to do this with a team. And you could test this out for a few hours just to see and validate what I'm saying. But I can let you know right now, in your validation, numbers don't lie. All right, I'm really big on that. I'm really big on statistical mathematical proof. Numbers don't lie. Anybody could tell you and show you a strategy, but if they can't break down the numbers behind what they're doing per hand, per spin, all right, the only thing they're doing is selling you a false dream. All right, unless they got statistical proof behind what they do, they're just selling you a bunch of hogwash. That's one of the reasons why for years I've often said, if you want to challenge me, I'm up for the challenge. And no one has done that. No one, or at least if they tried to, they failed. All right. And I'm really here to help us make some money. All right. And the only way I can make it is if I make this great for my users. So now that this is really good for team play, I'm back, and we're going to come over and we're going to take this ish over. Until the next time, guys, take care.